Heartwarming Billionaire's incredible journey to adopt a disabled girl. Discover her touching world and transformative connection. James Harrington sat in his sprawling mansion in a Chicago suburb, the rain pouring down in heavy sheets outside. He stared at the luxurious furniture, the shimmering chandeliers, and the endless accolades that adorned his walls. But deep within, an emptiness gnawed at his heart. No amount of wealth or philanthropy could fill the void left by a life disconnected from the simple joys of family. He once knew the warmth of community, the laughter of family gatherings, and the enchantment of childhood dreams. Now, he was a billionaire with nothing more than his own shadow for company. On a particularly dreary afternoon, he decided to volunteer at the local community center. With each passing minute, he felt more out of place, out of touch with the very people he once aspired to help. Then he met Mia. She was a 10-year-old girl with a bright smile and paint-smeared fingers. Her laughter was infectious, a melody that cut through the dreariness of his day. Despite the physical challenges she faced, Mia painted her world in vibrant colors, each stroke speaking volumes about her emotions and dreams. "Do you like it?" she asked, beaming proudly at her canvas. It was a swirl of colors, wild and free. "It's beautiful," James replied, feeling a warmth bloom in his chest. He had never considered the artistry of innocence, the unfiltered expression of a child's heart. In that moment, a flicker of hope ignited his spirit. Each day he returned, something shifted inside him. Mia's laughter filled the empty chambers of his soul. He watched as she transformed blank canvases into magical worlds, embedding all her hopes in art. She taught him to see through her eyes, to find joy in the smallest of things, and to cherish moments that had once slipped through his fingers. However, each visit also unveiled the harsh reality Mia faced. The foster care system often overlooked children like her, caught in a cruel world rife with indifference. James was moved by the sheer injustice that stalked Mia's life, and soon, thoughts of adopting her began to take root in his mind. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The days grew heavier as he prepared for the adoption process. Friends told him he'd be ridiculed for wanting to adopt a disabled child. "It'll hurt your reputation," they warned. Yet, Mia's spirit would not let him falter. Her determination spurred him on. As the adoption hearing approached, James felt the pressure. Whispers echoed in his mind. Doubt clawed at his resolve. In a moment of desperation, he prepared a heartfelt speech for the hearing, one that could change everything for both of them. He poured his heart into every word, ready to redefine love and acceptance in a world quick to dismiss. When the day arrived, hope and fear wrestled in his chest as he stood, preparing to speak for the girl who had unwittingly changed his life forever. But just as the hearing began, obstacles arose, turning his world upside down. Would he be able to break through the societal barriers that separated them? Would Mia find the loving home she had always deserved? As the judge deliberated, James felt his heart race. The answers to their future hung in the balance, leaving him trembling at the edge of destiny. The judge's gavel echoed through the courtroom, slicing through the tension that clung to the air like thick fog. James looked out into the sea of faces, unfamiliar and cold. Each one seemed like a barrier, a challenge to the dream he held dearly. Mia's future rested not just on his shoulders but in the perception of everyone surrounding them. James brushed his palms against his pants, feeling the slickness of sweat. "Mr. Harrington?" The judge's voice pierced through his thoughts, drawing him back to the moment. "Would you like to speak?" His heart raced as he took a deep breath, the weight of the moment crashing down on him. All the words he had meticulously crafted suddenly felt inadequate, lost amidst the gravity of the proceedings. Still he stood, his legs shaking slightly as he approached the podium. "Your Honor, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak." He began, his voice trembling. Today, I stand not just as a billionaire, but as someone who deeply cares about the future of a remarkable young girl, a girl who deserves love, a family, and a chance. He caught a glimpse of Mia, sitting quietly in the front row, her eyes dancing across the room, wide with curiosity. Her presence sent a jolt of strength coursing through him. It was time to be her voice, to fight for her world. I've watched Mia pour her heart into every brushstroke, turning pain into beauty. She may face challenges, but she has something many overlook, an unyielding spirit. She has taught me more about love and resilience than I ever thought possible. His words started to turn, a fire igniting within. I know society has its biases, but isn't it our duty to embrace those who are different? He paused, allowing the poignant silence to thrum in the air. Adopting Mia isn't about saving her. It's about honoring her incredible journey. As he spoke, he saw the judge's eyes narrow slightly, weighing his words, gathering the truth buried within them. A wave of murmurs rippled through the audience, some nodding while others scoffed in disbelief. But James didn't falter. Love doesn't come with conditions. Love is the one thing that can conquer all hardships. And with Mia, I want to create a home filled with laughter, creativity, and warmth, a place where she can flourish. It was as if he could feel the walls closing and the doubts swirling around like dark shadows. But Mia's smile pierced through, a lighthouse guiding him toward calm waters. He remembered the moments spent with her, the shared laughter, her vibrant artwork, and the purity of her dreams. This is our chance to change a narrative, to show that every life, no matter how different, is worth living fully. I am ready to embrace that challenge. As he returned to his seat, a deafening silence fell over the room. The judge began scribbling notes, the air thick with anticipation. He could almost hear the ticking clock, counting down their fate. Then, just when he thought he had poured out everything, the door to the courtroom creaked open. A woman stepped in, her frazzled hair and wide eyes immediately capturing attention. "I have something to say," she declared, her voice quaking, echoing the uncertainty that James felt in his own heart. Who was she? What could she possibly have to disrupt this life-altering moment? The weight of his own fears and hopes began to crash over him again like waves in a storm. As the room turned to face her, the question painted on every face was the same. What revelation would she bring that could change everything? James felt a tightening in his chest as the woman made her way to the front. Her lips pressed together in a thin line, and her hands trembled slightly, betraying the calm resolve she tried to convey. He searched her face, wondering why she had chosen this moment to step in. "Your Honor," she began, her gaze sweeping across the courtroom. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't sit quietly any longer. I am Mia's biological aunt." The words hung in the air, heavy and shocking. James's pulse quickened. He caught a glimpse of Mia's small face, her eyes darting back and forth between him and the woman. Confusion flickered across Mia's features. James's heart sank. They'd come too far for this. "What does that mean?" the judge asked, leaning forward with interest. "Are you seeking custody, ma'am?" The aunt swallowed hard. "Yes, Your Honor. I want to take Mia home. I've just found out about this hearing, and I'm desperate to make sure she isn't taken away from our family." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and the courtroom's atmosphere shifted. James felt a surge of anger and fear. "But you abandoned her," he blurted out, unable to contain himself. "You left her when she needed you most. Mia deserves more than a second chance for someone who chose to walk away." The words spilled out before he could think twice, igniting whispers among the crowd. The aunt's shoulders sagged under the weight of his accusation. "I know I made mistakes, but family should always come first. I want to fix this," she said. Her voice cracked, revealing a vulnerability that was tangible. "Fix it?" he exclaimed, gripping the edge of the podium for support. "You don't get to just step back into her life when it suits you. Mia deserves stability, love, and someone who truly cares for her, not someone who shows up when it's convenient." The judge raised a hand to silence the room, and the intensity of the moment settled heavily in the air. James fought to keep his emotions in check, but it felt like everything he had worked for was tipping over the edge of a cliff. Mia was watching intently, her innocent gaze alternating between James and her aunt. There was hurt in her eyes, the kind that was all too familiar to him. She was caught in the middle of something none of them had prepared her for. "Mr. Harrington," the judge said, his voice steady but firm. "This isn't a battle to be won through anger. This is about what's best for Mia." The aunt flinched, but James wasn't done. "I understand you want to be there for her now, but where were you when she needed a home? A family? You can't decide to be a parent when it's convenient." "Maybe I didn't know how to be a parent then," the woman replied, her voice a whisper. "Or what I was giving up." All eyes shifted to the judge as he contemplated the turmoil before him. James's breath was shallow, despair clawing at his insides. He could feel the weight of his choices, every second ticking away as they all waited for a decision on Mia's future. In the silence, Mia stood up slowly, her expression a mixture of confusion and sorrow. "I just wanted someone to love me," she said, her voice ringing out like a bell in the quiet chamber. James's heart shattered. "Mia," he murmured, desperate to bridge the growing chasm between them. And then the judge spoke, his authoritative voice breaking the tension. "I need to make a decision that serves Mia's best interests. But first, I have some questions for this aunt." What would the judge ask? And how would her answers affect Mia's fragile future? The judge's gaze was piercing as he addressed Mia's aunt. "Let us start with why you've decided to come forward now. What has driven you to seek custody after all this time?" The woman shifted uncomfortably, glancing down at her hands. "I didn't know Mia was in such a situation," she began, her voice trembling. "I was caught up in my own life, in my own struggles. I thought I had time. When I realized that she was in foster care, I felt devastated. I want to make things right." James clenched his fists, rooted in disbelief. Her words felt hollow, full of excuses rather than accountability. He couldn't bear the thought of Mia being further hurt by someone who had turned her back before. The weight of responsibility threatened to crush him. Every focus in the room turned to Mia, who looked small and lost in that moment. The judge caught Mia's gaze, his voice softer now. "Mia, how do you feel about this? You don't need to answer if you don't want to, but your feelings matter." Mia hesitated. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears, sadness radiating through her delicate features. I just want someone to take care of me," she whispered. "But I don't know her." An almost tangible silence followed, as James's heart ached for her innocence. The judge acknowledged her words with a nod, then turned back to the aunt with scrutiny. "Have you prepared for what it means to care for Mia? This isn't just about wanting a child. It's about commitment." "I understand," the aunt replied, desperation mingling with determination. "I've thought about this every day since I found out. I want to love her, support her. I will do everything I can to provide the stability she needs." James felt a flash of hope. Perhaps the aunt was sincere. Perhaps she could change. But doubt bubbled under the surface. Is it really love if it's conditional? Can you really be there for her when it counts? The aunt seemed taken aback. The judge's gavel struck the desk, breaking the mounting tension. "Mr. Harrington, emotion cannot drive every response here. You must allow her to explain how she intends to create a stable home for Mia." James's frustration made it difficult to breathe. He wanted to shield Mia from the mess of adult conflicts, from the confusion of grown-up words that should have meaning but often fell flat. The aunt took a deep breath. "I'm building a support network. I've reached out to counselors, to other family, to ensure resources are available. I want to ensure she isn't alone. She deserves more than just my love. She deserves a life of promise." The judge studied her carefully, and for a moment, time stretched infinitely. James could sense a shift, the way the court leaned closer to the aunt's every word, the possibility unfolding before them. But Mia didn't look convinced. The fear in her eyes loomed larger than the hope of a new family. What if the woman's promises faded like whispers carried away by the wind? Mia, would you want to live with your aunt if it meant stability? The judge asked gently. Her small voice barely broke through the stillness. I don't know what stability means anymore. James's chest tightened. It wasn't fair. Mia had already been through too much. And as if sensing the rising tension, the judge called for a recess. We'll reconvene shortly. Please take this time to consider your roles in Mia's life. James glared at the aunt as she stepped back, leaving an icy void between them. Could the court really give Mia to someone who sought redemption rather than true connection? His heart raced with thoughts of the consequences. Mia stared at him, searching for answers he didn't know if he had. What's going to happen to me? She asked softly, her voice tinged with fear. His heart ached to reassure her, but he felt lost himself. I'll fight for you, Mia. I promise. But deep down, James wondered if his fight would be enough. Would it be enough to save her from a life that felt so uncertain? As they prepared to return, he realized the clock was ticking. The future rested not just in the decisions of the judge, but in the choices made in that very room. What would Mia choose, and how would her decision shape the lives of everyone involved? The tension in the air felt almost suffocating as the recess bell echoed through the courtroom, signaling a brief escape from the emotional turmoil. The judge stepped out, granting everyone a moment to breathe. James turned to Mia, sitting quietly, her hands fidgeting in her lap, eyes cast down. Mia, he started, but his voice wavered. What could he say that would comfort her? He knelt beside her chair, trying to meet her gaze. I'm here for you. Whatever happens, I want you to know that. She looked up, her big, expressive eyes searching his face. Will I have to go with her? The question hung heavy between them. James felt the deep ache in his chest intensify. Not if I can help it, he said softly, gripping her small hand. You deserve to feel safe and loved. I'll do everything I can to make sure you're okay. But what if I don't get to choose? She whispered, a tremor in her voice. James knew that feeling all too well, the dread of choices made without your voice. Then we'll make a plan together, he promised. You'll always have a say in what happens. You're not alone in this. Mia nodded, though shadows still clouded her expression. As they waited for the judge's return, the courtroom buzzed with hushed conversations. Both aunt and attorney were deep in discussion, the weight of the impending decision visible on their faces. James could feel their eyes on him and Mia, judging, estimating, weighing both hope and uncertainty. Moments later, the judge returned, taking his seat with a decisive motion. We'll resume, he declared, his demeanor steady despite the emotional current running through the room. James's heart raced as he shifted his focus back to Mia, who looked even smaller now, swallowed by the gravity of it all. The judge glanced at her, his gaze lingering a moment longer, perhaps sensing her vulnerability. Let us discuss your future, Mia. It's important for you to know that your voice is valued. The aunt straightened, her earlier determination glossed with unease. Your Honor, I appreciate the opportunity to prove myself. I've done research and I know I can be the stability she needs. I've even started working on a routine for Mia to help her with her schoolwork and social activities. James clenched his jaw, anger flaring inside him. A routine wouldn't fill the emotional gaps, wouldn't heal the scars of Mia's past. But does a routine mean she'll feel loved? Does it mean you'll be there when she needs someone to listen? Kids need more than just schedules. They need hearts. The judge nodded, looking mildly pleased with James's concern for Mia's well-being. Your points are valid, Mr. Harrington. This isn't just about the logistics of life. It's about her development emotionally as well. Mia shifted in her chair, her lips pressed together, contemplating their words. Can you show Mia love? James pressed, his voice growing more passionate. Can you be her safety net when she's feeling lost? Will you be committed during the hard times, not just the good? The room went quiet, all eyes darting between the aunt and Mia. I'll try my best, the aunt replied, desperation creeping into her voice. Try isn't enough, Mia said suddenly, her small but steady voice breaking the tension. I need to know you will be there for me no matter what. I'm scared. Her words cut through the room, sharp and raw. James felt a glimmer of pride for her courage, a flicker of light in the dim atmosphere. Everyone had expected the aunt to be the one with all the answers, but it was Mia who had shifted the balance, who was demanding what she needed. "I'm not a project," Mia continued, the tears she had held back anew. "I'm a person, and I need to feel safe to open up, to trust." James's heart soared. She was speaking her truth, fighting for herself. He had always wanted Mia to understand her worth. As the judge leaned forward, his expression shifting to that of profound respect, James felt hope blossom. Could this be the defining moment that led to something greater for Mia? "Mia," the judge said gently, "your feelings are invaluable in this matter. Would you consider how you want to proceed?" But before Mia could respond, the court doors burst open. A woman rushed in, out of breath, her eyes wide, desperate. James's heart sank. Who was this now? What new twist had fate thrown into the chaos? The woman scanned the room, and all attention shifted. What did she know that could change everything? "Wait, I have something important to say about Mia." The courtroom went silent, all eyes on the newcomer. The woman stood there, drenched in anxiety, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Her clothes were simple, but there was something striking about her, a fierce determination in her eyes that pulled everyone's attention. "Mia," she called out, her voice echoing with urgency. "I'm sorry I'm late. I didn't think I'd make it in time, Mia." The aunt's voice grew sharp, a blatant challenge. "Do you even know this girl?" The woman stepped forward, her hands clasped at her heart, as if she were holding on to something precious. "Yes, I do. My name is Sarah. I'm a friend of Mia's. I've watched over her these past few years, and I have to say she deserves so much more than just a routine. She needs love, real love, unconditional love." James felt a surge of hope. Who was this Sarah? What did she know about Mia? The judge seemed intrigued too, raising an eyebrow but remaining poised. "Mia," Sarah continued, her voice trembling but resolute, "you are strong, and your voice matters. I've seen how hard you've fought. I've been rooting for you. You are not alone anymore." Mia's eyes widened as she searched Sarah's face for the truth of her words. Hope flickered in her gaze for the first time. James could almost hear the gears turning in Mia's mind. "What do you mean?" Mia asked softly. "How do you know me?" Sarah stepped closer, her eyes softening as they locked onto Mia's. "I've known you since you were in your old school. I volunteered there, and I was always impressed by how brave you were, especially when everything seemed overwhelming. I never stopped thinking about you, Mia." The courtroom now lay in a hush, the tension replaced by curiosity and intrigue. James watched as Mia took a deep breath, hope battling with doubt in her expression. "I didn't know you were watching," Mia murmured, her voice barely audible. "Why didn't you say anything before now?" "I had to wait for the right moment," Sarah replied, her tone earnest. "I wanted to be sure you'd have the chance to speak up for yourself. Mia, you deserve to choose who takes care of you, who loves you. And I know how hard this is for you." James felt a thrill of triumph at her words. This was the voice they needed, the voice that affirmed Mia's bravery, not just a stranger's, but someone who had been part of her world. The judge, still observing carefully, leaned forward. "Sarah, do you wish to speak further about your connections with Mia?" "Yes," she said, finding strength. "There's more I'd like to share about her life, about how she shines. I have pictures, stories, everything that shows Mia's kindness and spirit. Most importantly, I want the court to know that I've been trying to get an arrangement where I could support Mia permanently." The emotional swell in the room was palpable. James wanted to leap to his feet, to advocate for Mia as always, but he remained grounded, focused on her reaction now. Mia turned to him, her sparkling eyes searching for assurance. "You really think I'm worth it? That I can choose?" "Yes, Mia," he encouraged gently, "you are worth all this and more. You deserve to be heard, to feel safe, and to choose who's next to you in this journey." Tears brimmed in Mia's eyes, her heart battling the fear that had long taken residence there. James watched as Sarah reached out, extending her hand, a bridge of hope built in that very moment. "I promise, with all my heart, I will be here," Sarah said. "You won't have to be alone anymore." As the heaviness of the day began to lift, James felt something shift. Everything they had fought for might finally be aligning. But the judge cleared his throat, redirecting the focus. Sarah, we'll need to discuss the particulars of your involvement. There are legalities that must be addressed while discussions began. James felt the excitement bubbling just below the surface. But as Mia turned to Sarah, drawing in a hopeful breath, a shadow crossed her face. Will I really get to choose, or will someone else decide for me again? Her question struck deep, bringing a hush over the spectators. The gravity of her past hung thickly in the air, casting uncertainty once more. James's heart raced. A new wave of determination washed over him. He could feel it. This was not just a routine. This was Mia's journey toward a life of love and safety. Yet the next turn remained unknown. Who would truly listen to Mia's heart? The answer loomed on the horizon, just beyond reach. The atmosphere in the courtroom felt like it was suspended in time. Mia's question hung heavy, echoing in James' mind long after it had slipped from her lips. Would anyone truly listen? Sarah opened her mouth to respond, but the judge interjected, bringing the focus back to the legal proceedings. Let us proceed with the formalities. Can you elaborate on your plans to support Mia? But Sarah had already turned her attention back to Mia, her expression softening. Mia, I believe in you. I want to help you find your voice, your real voice, not the one people think you should have. Mia's fingers fiddled nervously with the hem of her shirt. But what if they don't let me choose? James felt a pang in his chest. He wanted to reach out to reassure her, but he sensed that the words had to come from Sarah. There's a process, Sarah said, her tone steady. I know this can feel scary, but you have more power than you realize. The energy in the room shifted again, anticipation mixed with anxiety. James shifted in his seat, wishing he could jump in and voice all the ideas swirling in his mind about how to make Mia's world better. If only he could show her she was worthy of this new path. Mia, you've been through so much, Sarah continued, her eyes filled with sincerity. Even in the hardest of times, you managed to spread kindness and hope to those around you. I want you to live in an environment where that is celebrated, not ignored. Do you really mean that? Mia whispered, vulnerability pouring from her. Every word, Sarah affirmed, her gaze unwavering. The judge's voice broke into the moment, yet again reminding the courtroom of their reality. Let us focus on the legal aspects. What can you provide to ensure that Mia's needs will be met? James felt a shift in energy within the room. The formalities began crawling back towards the surface, as if everyone had forgotten the very essence of why they were all here today. He wanted to scream it wasn't just about the rules. It was about Mia, but instead he stayed silent, listening. Sarah responded with fervor. I can create a safe space for her, help with her education. I'm prepared to spend time with her, to give her choices every step of the way. James noticed Mia's shoulders ease slightly at those words, the beginnings of a smile creeping onto her face. This stranger, this beautiful stranger, was fighting for her. Yet just as hope kindled in the air, Mia's aunt scoffed from the back of the room. You think you can just waltz in and take my niece away? You don't know her like I do. A tense silence followed her outburst. James sensed the crowd's collective intake of breath, a wave of tension cascading through the observers. Mia, listen, Sarah said, undeterred. You have every right to feel hesitant. The people in your life need to understand how strong you are, and they need to support your choices. I'm here to help you, to fight for you. James's heart swelled as Mia's brow furrowed in contemplation. He could see thoughts swirling in her mind like a storm. Each murmur from the audience hit her like a wave, nudging her past fears into the background. Maybe I do want to choose, she finally said, the hesitation breaking free, almost gasping out into the space around her. But everything feels so complicated. Complicated is okay, Mia, Sarah assured her gently. We'll take it one step at a time together. You'll always be the one in charge of your story. The judge tapped his gavel lightly, signaling for focus once again. Can we stay on track here? The court will evaluate Sarah's intent and capability to support Mia according to legal guidelines. James felt time hitch as Mia wrapped her arms around herself, struggling with the weight of the moment. Everything hung in the balance. Could anyone truly look past bureaucratic rules to give Mia what she needed? Just then, Sarah took a step closer to Mia, lowering her voice again. Mia, look at me. This isn't just about paperwork. This is about your life, your happiness. You get to dream, and I want to help you live those dreams. With that, James's heart raced. This was it. The moment of truth was approaching. He could feel the intensity building, like a wave ready to crash. But the question loomed in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Would Mia's voice truly be heard, or would she remain just a quiet echo of someone else's decisions? The clock ticked slowly, and the world outside seemed to fade, while inside the courtroom, a new journey was just beginning to unfold. Mia's heart raced as her words settled over the courtroom. She felt exposed, but there was a flicker of power igniting within her. Yes, she wanted to choose, but fear of the unknown weighed down her resolve. James glanced at the judge, who wore a focused expression, flipping through the pages before him with a barely concealed impatience. "Let us proceed," he said, his tone carrying an unmistakable authority. "Miss Sarah, you mentioned plans to support Mia. What specific resources do you have access to?" Sarah straightened, ready for the question. "I will collaborate with local organizations specializing in youth support. I can help her find mentorship programs, therapy, and create an educational plan tailored to her needs. I have connections with school districts that understand the importance of individualized attention." A low murmur rippled through the courtroom. James saw Mia glance at her aunt, who sunk deeper into her seat, arms crossed defiantly. The weight of Mia's past traumas pressed against her spirit. But in that moment, James could see a glimmer of hope breaking through the clouds of uncertainty. "Your Honor," Sarah continued, "it is crucial that Mia feels safe in her environment as she transitions. I will offer her a space filled with encouragement and freedom of choice. Together, we'll tackle the fears that grip her heart." Mia's aunt shot up from her seat, her voice breaking into the dialogue. "You think this is a game? You're just trying to swoop in like a savior. You don't know what Mia needs." "Mia is strong," Sarah replied calmly, facing Mia's aunt with an unwavering gaze. "She has been through so much. Don't you think it's time she has a say in her own future, instead of being treated like a pawn?" James felt the tension coil tighter. He could see the anxiety swirling within Mia like a storm, a tempest of emotions threatening to spill over. Prompted him to rise. "Your Honor," he spoke up, his voice echoing in the stillness that had wrapped its grip around the room. "Mia deserves a chance. Not just the chance to be compliant, but to thrive, to dream and to feel supported while she figures out what that looks like." Mia's gaze shifted to him, her eyes searching for reassurance. The warmth of his words seemed to simultaneously comfort and agitate her, pulling at the threads of doubt and fear. The judge nodded, seemingly more engaged now, his eyebrows raising slightly. "James, are you offering to support this plan?" "Yes." His heart raced, adrenaline fueling him as he continued. "I'm ready to be an ally, not just for Mia but for her journey. Everyone in this room contributes to her future, and I want to ensure her voice isn't muted by past experiences." Mia blinked rapidly as a wave of emotion flooded through her. This was more than she had ever dared to hope for. But just as the moment shifted, her aunt's cold laugh cut through. "Support? All I see is a bunch of strangers plotting against what's best for her. You don't know the first thing about being family." The word stung, but Sarah stepped forward. "Family isn't just blood. It's about love, trust, and believing in a person's potential. Mia's potential has been stifled for too long. It's time to give her the tools to rise." Silence blanketed the room again, a stillness as heavy as the weight of their words. Mia, caught in the crosshairs of her choices, felt every gaze on her. She had been the quiet one, but now she stood at a crossroads, both terrified and exhilarated. "Mia, what do you want?" James finally asked, his voice gentle but filled with resolve. The question hung in the air like a pulse, sparks igniting scores of possibilities in her mind. But would she have the courage to embrace them? As the judge signaled for a recess, tension crackled throughout the room, and Mia looked down, the pressure of expectations swirling around her like a fog. In that moment, the path to her future shimmered with hope and fear, promising both freedom and uncertainty. But as she pulled in a deep breath, one thought lingered: could she really claim the life she yearned for? What lay ahead shimmered with potential, but also uncertainty. Would Mia rise to the challenge and find her voice? Or would she retreat into silence once more? Mia stared at the polished floor, her heart pounding like a drum. A whirlwind of emotions swirled inside her: fear, hope, resentment, and she felt all those voices in her head battling for space. Would she really have to choose? Could she accept the help that was being offered? Or would she forever be trapped under her aunt's shadow? As the judge stood up, the gavel in his hand felt like a lifeline, marking the end of the session. The room began to empty out, but Mia remained, frozen in her thoughts. James walked over to her, a gentle smile breaking through the uncertain atmosphere. "Hey," he said softly, "you okay?" She bit her lip, unsure of how to respond. "What if I make the wrong choice?" James knelt beside her, their faces at eye level. "Life is full of choices, Mia. It's about what you feel is best for you. And whatever you choose, you won't be alone." His words wrapped around her like a warm blanket. In that moment, she could almost see the glimmer of the future. He spoke of the freedom, the laughter, the journey of self-discovery. But doubt crept in again. "What if I can't handle it?" "You've already handled so much," he replied, his voice steady. "Each battle has made you stronger. This is just another step, and I'll be right here with you." Just then, Sarah approached, her expression more open now, a contrast to the rigid formality of the courtroom. "Mia," she said, "you are not just a participant in this. This is your life. You deserve to choose where you go from here, and I will help you every step of the way." Mia finally looked up, meeting Sarah's eyes. Could this be real support and genuine care? It felt like a whisper of hope, one she hadn't cherished in years. But the shadow of her aunt hung heavy. "And what about my aunt? She doesn't want me to leave her," Mia said hesitantly, turning her focus back to the floor. "That's true," Sarah acknowledged, "but there's a big difference between family and belonging. Your mental well-being is what matters most. You don't owe anyone a life you don't want to live." With each word, Mia felt the chains of expectation slowly lifting. The more she contemplated it, the more she realized her aunt's intentions came from a place of fear, not love. Deep down, Mia longed for not just survival, but to thrive, to find joy in the little things, to laugh without restraint. Stepping out of the building, the sun hit her face, casting warmth across her skin. It was a new beginning, and yet she felt the weight of her aunt's disapproval like a heavy cloak. "James, what if I choose differently than what everyone expects?" She searched his face for answers. "Then that's your truth, and it's powerful," he said. "Life will be full of surprises. You'll learn who you are along the way. Embrace that person. Embrace your choices." Mia took a shaky breath, weighing her options. It felt like she was perched on a cliff, ready to jump into an unknown abyss. Would she soar or fall? Just as she decided to take a step forward, a familiar figure lingered just outside the exit. Her aunt, arms crossed, eyes blazing with anger. "Mia, we need to talk." Mia faltered, her heart pounding once more. She wasn't ready for this confrontation, but now the stakes felt higher than ever. Would she stand her ground? Or would she capitulate to the familiar fear that held her back for so long? Standing at the threshold, the future spread out before her like an open road, but the storm was back, and it was time to find out which path she would choose. Would she claim her voice, or would she let it drown in the roar of expectations? Mia's heart raced as she faced her aunt. The anger radiating from her aunt felt like a wall, but this time, Mia stood a little taller. She felt the warmth of the sun on her face and the strength from James and Sarah behind her. They believed in her. "Mia, we need to talk," her aunt said, her voice sharp enough to cut through the air. Mia took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "What do you want to talk about?" she managed, trying to keep her voice steady. "Mia, I know you're confused," her aunt replied, a hint of desperation creeping into her tone. You don't have to choose these strangers over your own blood. I can be there for you. We can work things out. With each word, Mia felt the chains of doubt tighten. Yet she also felt something deeper, an ember of truth igniting inside her. You left me, she said softly but firmly. You let me go when I needed you the most. But now, I have other people in my life who see me for who I am. Her aunt's face hardened, confusion and anger clashing like thunderclouds. But family is supposed to stick together. Do you think they'll care for you as I would? Will you really care? Mia shot back, emotions swelling. You didn't even come for me when I was in foster care. I felt alone. The shadows in her aunt's eyes flickered briefly, and Mia caught a faint glimpse of guilt, but then it vanished. You need to understand that life is complicated. I wasn't ready. Mia nodded, feeling the weight of the moment shift. I understand. I do. But you don't get to decide everything for me anymore. I deserve a say in my life. As her words echoed in the air, she felt something unshackling within her. The room felt brighter. There was power in her voice. Mia, listen, her aunt started, her facade cracking. No, you listen. Mia interrupted, her voice rising with determination. I want to find my own way. I want to be happy. And I want to be around people who care about me not just because of blood, but because they love me for who I am. At that moment, Mia realized she was choosing not just for herself, but also for all the little girls who were scared to speak up. She looked towards Sarah and James. They mirrored her strength, their belief in her shining brightly like beacons in a storm. Mia, please. Her aunt's tone trembled, pleading now. But Mia was resolute. I can't trust you if you only show up when it's convenient, she replied, her heart pounding. I need stability. I need love. I want Sarah and James to be part of my life because they've shown me what it truly means to support someone. The silence that fell was thick with tension, but this time, it was her aunt who seemed smaller. As Mia took a step forward, the urge to flee faded. She was ready to claim her voice. I choose Sarah. I choose the safety and love I deserve. I deserve to grow without doubt hanging over me. Mia, her aunt said, desperation woven through her words. You don't have to shut me out. I'm not shutting you out, Mia said softly. But I need to open my heart to those who truly want to be there for me. At that moment, James stepped beside Mia, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. Mia, your strength is inspiring. You've made a choice and it's powerful. Mia looked at him, gratitude flooding her being. With a radiant smile, she turned her attention back to her aunt. It wasn't easy to let go of the fear that had always clouded their relationship, but this was her path to freedom. As she felt the sunlight warming her face, a wave of calm washed over her. Thank you for everything, Aunt. I do want you to be happy, but it can't come at the cost of my happiness anymore. Mia's heart soared at how her voice shook the heavy air, her decision clear. She was ready to embrace the unknown, to step into a future filled with love and possibility. The road ahead shimmered with hope. No more shadows, no more doubts, just Mia standing strong and free, ready to paint her life with vibrant colors of courage. The storm had passed. She had chosen her path, and she would no longer be a silent bystander in her own story. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow on the horizon, Mia felt an overwhelming sense of peace. She turned to Sarah and James, minds buzzing with the excitement of what lay ahead. They had sparked a journey. She was now ready to take a journey where she could finally be herself. In that sweet moment of victory, as her aunt walked away, Mia realized that sometimes the hardest battles lead to the greatest transformations. This was her life, and she was ready to live it, one brushstroke at a time. Now, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your voice matters. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. We want to know how this touched your heart. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's spread this message of hope and courage far and wide.